Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of my favourite people and some of the world's biggest star. And a man who's guaranteed to make you laugh. He's a cabaret idol. He's a pantomime star. He's one of the most popular people who have ever appeared on Celebrity Big Brother. And he's great value no matter where he appears. Bobby Davro, how are you?
Hey, lovely Alex. Happy New Year to you and all your listeners and viewers.
Do you know, it's really good to talk to you, and I'll tell you why. You're one of those few people, I put you up there with Brian Conley, Joe Pasquale. You're a guaranteed act. No matter who you stand in front of, you do it, don't you? You just make people laugh.
I've had an accident. I gave Joe Pasquale his catchphrase, funny enough, years and years ago. I've got a voice that I get on your nerves. And we've remained friends all these years. Yeah, that's a nice compliment you paid me there, Alex. Just, we keep going, and I've done the same every generation, I guess, for the last 35 years.
It's sort of that thing, you go on stage like a firework display, you go on high energy, and you keep it there right until the end. There aren't many people doing that anymore, and it's a shame.
Well, it's just my style. If you go and see, Michael David, he walks up and down, he's very energetic, he moves up and down. I'm the same, I'm very energetic, Lee Evans type. And I've never really changed. I'm slowing down the cuts now because I'm pushing 50, pushing it, I'm dragging it. You know, it's one of those ones that. Can you hear that beeping, by the way?
No, I can't actually.
Oh, because it's my old dad trying to get through to me. You see, he'll get a bit confused. He's 91 now.
Oh, bless him.
He's still pretty good. He can still touch his toes with his testicles, sadly. And he just moved into a home. Sadly, it's my home. And he's probably trying to get through. He'll be cursing me because he's been trying all afternoon, but I've been busy doing all these sort of interviews and chats on the radio because I'm doing a tour coming up this year.
And it's great to see you back. I think what Celebrity Big Brother does is give you an opportunity to reinvent yourself and find a new audience and sell these tours out, because it's not easy, is it, filling theatres these days?
No, it isn't, especially for people like me. They should do that, a show called Still Alive at the Apollo. Because you're not getting to see my era of comedian. And era doesn't mean to say that I'm doing stuff from the 80s. So if you come and see me, you know, I'm not doing the things that I was doing back in the 80s. That's my style, and it's never really changed. Joke telling, singing, impressions. But the impressions, you know, I'm not doing Frank Spencer and Norman Windsor impressions. I'm doing, you know, the John Bishops. I'm doing all the modern Anna Carr and the Jimmy Cars. And the Photo Blade, all those ones. I'm doing all the new ones. Just that you're not seeing me do it on telly anymore because they use newer people, and that's just a fact of life. It's a bit sad that I haven't got anywhere that I can show my wares as a performer other than going into the Big Brother house or dancing or cooking or wood stoning floors or baking cakes. It's, you know, I always say, you know, I can't skate, I can't dance, I can't cook, I haven't got a garden, I've got bubble in the attic. So what times do I stand?
How do you stop getting bitter about that? Because your act's still as funny as it ever was.
Bitter. Never get bitter. If you get bitter, pack it in. Frustrated maybe, but don't get bitter if you get bitter. Because I have nothing to be bitter about. I achieved it all. What do you strive to have in your career? Hopefully you'll be well known. You become reasonably successful and famous as I've done. You know, I have my own television shows. There's not an ounce of bitterness about me. There's quite a lot of frustration because I still want to be inventive. That's what I mean. And it's the creativity that television gave me. Dressing up, doing impressions, doing sketch comedy. The creative side is what I miss.
I guess you have to tell yourself it's not personal because it's not just you. Nobody's getting on anymore, are they?
No, they are. Everybody's getting on. That's the trouble now. It's so diluted with comedians that we see on panel shows. But really, how many comedians, apart from the ones, the Michael McIntyres and the Anna Carrs and the Graham Nortons, not many of them really that get their own television shows. Russell Howard is stuff. It isn't easy to maintain that. It becomes very difficult. I was very lucky to be around when I was getting 11, 12 million viewers. And now, if you get 2 million viewers, you're you know, oh gosh, that's brilliant, isn't it? It's got very diluted.
Is it still amazing to you when you pick up the paper and find yourself on the front page or within it that people are still interested, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad? It must be an odd feeling.
I think the trouble is that the psyche of this country is the fact that you love the underdogs. So they're like the new boy. comes on, oh, he's new, let's give him a go. And they give you a go, and they praise you. And then when you've been around a bit of time, now we've had what he does, let's put him down now. As soon as you become successful, let's put him down. You know, let's demote him and find holes in him. I mean, that will hurt. I think that's what happens to most entertainers, to most people.
Is it still great when you stand on a stage and see that people put their hand in their pocket to buy a ticket to see you? I guess that's the greatest compliment. I mean, you've been at it over 30 years.
I know, but it's getting people through the door. And they're not going to buy a ticket to come and see something they don't really know what you do. If you go onto YouTube, you'll find stuff. I've put a lot on social networks, any of my performances or shows, live shows, and maybe that's what I should have done, because people are still slightly confused about what they're going to see. They're not going to go and see somebody that was on, although Big Brother reminds them about what I do, it doesn't show them what I do.
Right.
That is the difficult thing. Unless I get a good kick of the ball to say, look, I'm not on live at the Apollo, I'm going to do a comedy guest show, I'm going to do a special or something. The amazing thing I watched the other day was I watched Tracy Ullman. She's been off our TV screens for 30 years. And she's come back from America and she's come over and done a show for BBC. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And very good quality, very funny. It just goes to show you that we're still capable of doing it. It's just whether or not somebody wants to invest.
What would you have to do to get on one of those Michael McIntyre road shows? What do you think they're looking for that you're not doing, or is it just the fact that they want young, not old?
It's the only reason I'm not on is because I represent something that's deemed to the executives, to the television people, as old school. I mean, you mentioned Brian Connolly and Jim Davis. Look how brilliant those comics were, and they were top class.
Still are.
But yeah, of course they are, but you don't see them on live at the Apollo. And these McIntyre road shows. That's it, because it's the modern people. And okay, that's great. But what about the ones that have been around for a while? I'd love to have a chance to do one of those. When I work with some of the new people, you know, some people take the attitude and probably don't want to. You're going to be like in a comedy club. You know what? They don't say that afterwards. And I don't mean that in a conceited way. They see what we do. And they realise, oh, God, he knows his craft. He knows what he's doing. It's just that you don't see it. And some of the youngsters have huge respect, and others don't, because they're not even aware of my generation.
I think there's a great likability. You always had charm on stage. Was that something intentional? You weren't sort of the Bernard Manning upsetting people, coming across as all hard-nosed, a chubby brown act. You always had that sort of warmth of the Connollys and people like that. Was that deliberate and intentional?
No, I think that's easy. They've got that. You can have the best material in the world, and if they don't like you or they don't warm to you, you're not going to be popular. But people with very little material or material which isn't particularly strong or good, if they've got loads of warmth, I can give you an example. A very good friend of mine was Bob Monkhouse, and Bob was such a great comedian.
Yeah.
He was so good. He was so clinically good, so verbally good. The way he constructed jokes and material, it came across a bit smarmy.
Yeah.
And I can say that because a lot of people agree with me. He was a really nice man, and he was a fantastic comedian, but people go, oh, he was a bit smarmy. And then there's other people that didn't have the same with the good material like that come across charming, and people that just love them. Larry Grayson was one of a great example of, he was camp and he was lovable, wasn't he? So likeable.
Am I right in thinking the greatest comedian, sort of front cloth comedian, I suppose, variety comedian is Ken Dodd? I don't think there's a greater gagsmith than him, certainly living.
Yeah, that's for sure. For sure, Doddy is an icon, isn't it? It's just fantastic to keep going. The only thing is that you need to take a flask and sandwiches because he never comes off. And he's so famous. There was a great story about him, you know, when he got arrested for the tax business. And they said if he'd gone to prison, they would have given him 6 months, but he probably would have done 18. which is a great gag, because if they put him in prison for that, he didn't do it out of fear. He just did it. He just represented something to him. It made him feel secure, I guess. Well, I'm Joe, my life, mother, and so he didn't do it in a really corrupt way. And if he'd have put him in prison, I think he would have killed him.
Well, and again, he's from a different generation. He wasn't used to having that amount of money put in his hand every night, night after night. I always remember him saying about...
Under the mattress. His bed must have been sort of... It He must have had to knock through the ceiling by the time he finished.
Well, he tells a story. I think it was 64. He did the Palladium 5 days a week, 2 shows, and on a Saturday he did 3 shows. Can you imagine what he must have been earning? He could buy a house a day with what he must have been generating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can you imagine now? I bumped into John Bishop in a club. We were laughing about that. He came down the stairs. It was a little drinking club at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was doing an impression. He didn't know that I was in the corner in the dark there, and as he came down the stairs, he went, "These comedians getting too much money," and I could see him going, "Oh, there's some fucking over there, and they need me." And he looked over me that way, he said, and he came back down, and we talked about the difference. If I was a comedian now, I would be earning millions.
Yeah.
Millions.
Yeah, I interviewed Larry Lloyd once, a footballer, and he said the same about football. You were just a generation too early for the money.
I go out with my daughter. My girlfriend is the daughter of Billy Wright.
Yeah.
He played for Wolves, captain of England, 105 caps. He made £40 a week playing football. And I spoke to another footballer, a guy called Tony Mancini, who used to play for Arsenal. And he said, footballers make as much in one day as he made in his entire career.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean it's better, though. I mean, I look at what you did on TV, and those shows were so creative. Same with comedians today. You know, I don't think just because you're selling out 18,000 at the O2 makes you a better comedian.
No, and I agree with you. It just makes contemporary, as you started this conversation with, it's fashion. But personally, I'd much rather go and be a comedian in a theatre that holds maybe 1,000, 1,500 people than seeing arenas. I supported Baron Manway for a tour that he did, and I went out in the O2 there, and there's 20,000 people in the audience, and that you only see the first half a dozen rows, and you don't see anything. You just see little glow sticks in the back there, and Barry didn't even let me use his videos, so I must have looked like an ant from right at the back there. And you still get laughs, but it's not when you put those great big screens up, you might as well just buy the DVD.
Yeah, it's insane.
I'd much rather see a comedian in a theatre or in a smaller club.
And of course, it's been an interesting time for show business, what with you, Tree, coming around, sniffing around everyone. I mean, you, of course, have been clear of all that and kept out of it completely.
That is my opening line. I go, "I'm Bobby Davro. I'm I'm the only comedian from the 80s that hasn't been arrested." And then some swine in the audience always shouts out, "Yet." My daughter said to me, "Will you ever be done for anything in a club?" I said, "I've never done anything appropriate in a club, and once when I did sleep with a woman, I did have sex with a woman when she was asleep. But in my defence, she was awake when we started." And that's where I come from. And I think there's two sides of that. The people that are guilty deserve the punishment, deserve to go down for it. The ones that are persecuted slightly, which have been, we've been proved to see that they are innocent of what they're accused of. People are just so quick to jump on the bandwagon. Even with me, I don't know what people said to me. "Oh, Jim Davidson, you must be of that era. I knew Max Clifford. I used to socialise with Max Clifford before he did loads of stuff, the charity stuff that I got involved in. He'd helped me with my charity stuff." And people go, "Oh, you're the same kind of bloke." No, I'm not. I'm not that kind of man. And I can sleep well in my bed.
It is terrifying being a guy right now. I was talking to one of my mates yesterday. The line between flirting and being on a list somewhere is quite thin these days, isn't it? It's hard to know where that line is and what's appropriate and not, because we all just want to get laid, don't we?
Alex, I'm 57 years old, and I hand on heart, you are what you are. And when I was never a touchy-feely man, some men are. Some men are still that way. Some women are.
Yes.
Okay, but whenever I went out with a girl, of course, the lines. Where do you think to point? If a girl comes back to your room or your bedroom or something, and then you start kissing and cuddling, and then you put your hand, you try your luck, don't you? Because that's petty. That is what humankind is.
Yeah.
Now, you can't be accused of being a sex pest because you do that. But when a woman or girl ever told me, "I don't want you to do that," my hand will come away and I'll be a gentleman. That's how I approached it.
Talking of Big Brother that we mentioned earlier, there was something I saw the other night, and I thought if that had been the other way round, there'd have been police go in there, the guy'd have been kicked out, and it'd be front page news. When the woman went into the shower and grabbed Scotty T's private parts, saying it was the most beautiful member she'd ever seen, I thought that was really interesting that nobody picked up on it. It's okay when the women do it to the men, but if a guy did it to the woman, can you imagine the fallout?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't let it go. I wouldn't go straight to the police and go, I've been molested. But I wouldn't dream of doing that, opening something, a shower and sticking my hands on a woman's tits.
I mean, I'd love the opportunity for anybody to say I've got a large member. I mean, it's not going to happen, Bobby, but you know what I mean?
You'd be fondled, wouldn't you? Been a long time, Alex.
Any attention would be nice at this stage.
I'm telling everyone, it might not be big, but it's busy, but I'm lying to myself.
I want to see you in person, Bobby. I'm going to come and see you on this tour because truly, of all the people that were my role models growing up, you're really, truly up there because you've got such a consistent act. And what I love about you people, there's sort of a Rolodex of gags in your head. You're never short of a laugh, are you?
No, and that's my hobby. They say, what is your love? And I say, actually, my love is collecting jokes, understanding jokes, creating jokes. I love jokes. I like joke formats. I'm not, although I do conversational comedy, it's not about observational stuff all the time. It's very much joke format, an association with, if you were to mention football, I do use football jokes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm very proud of that, but my talent is mimicry, I guess, so I have to include that in the show. And what's so nice now, I do quite a lot of AV stuff, so I put up a big screen and I do sort of medleys with singers in and put them pictures up in there. And then at the end, I do a thing called This Is Your Life, or My Life, This Is My Life. Because I got This Is Your Life back in 1987. And it opened the This Is Your Life book, and I just show pictures of my career and my life and all the people I've met and things I've done. And it's rather nice, it's rather sentimental, and I finish on a picture of myself with my girls, and that's where I am now.
I think you've had the greatest years of show business. You're able to be a variety entertainer. You could sing and you could act and you could comede and you could do all the stuff that you're great at doing, and there isn't really room for that now. So I congratulate you on that and thank you for the memories. Some wonderful laughs over the years, and I look forward to seeing you on tour, coming across the country. You're starting off in a couple of months' time and ending up in Chesterfield.
Yeah, and then Chesterfield, I think, 27th of June. So it's a 20-day tour. I just want people to buy tickets and come and see it. And you know what? It'd be so refreshing for you because there's not many people that do what I do. And I guarantee you'll have a really good laugh.
You're a talent, you're a star, and I thank you for your time. Bobby Davro's coming to a town near you across the UK this spring. Thank you so much for your time. I'll look forward to seeing you during the tour.
Come and have a beer.
Will do. Cheers, Bobby.
Bye, lovely man.
That was great. Thank you so much.